Hello, everyone. I hope everyone's well today. I know I'm a lot better because it's nice weather. It's a little bit warmer, so that's excellent for me. So yeah, I hope everyone's well. I can see there's Irene. Hello, Irene Takura. Hello, Nigel Porter. I hope everyone's well. If you can give us an help with shares, that's ace. Just so I don't get issues. There you go. So I hope everyone's well. Today we will be talking to Jesse Craignou about parallel lives and dimensions. I like this subject. I'm looking forward to chat actually because I've been fascinated in this subject for a long time. Thank you, Nigel, and I'm glad you're doing well. Annette Locke, how are you? So yeah, we'll be talking to Jesse Craignou very shortly, and it's a conversation. We're going to have a chat about parallel lives and universes. And straight away, I'm thinking how it all connects to paranormal as well, but also just like to your dreams, loads of different things. I think it might merge into. So yeah, definitely looking forward to that chat. So if you've got any questions, put them in comments. If you've got any questions on parallel lives and universes, dimensions, put them in comments. We'll definitely look at them, and we'll have a talk about them as well. And also how it links into other subjects. Yes, Irene, it's a huge subject. There's loads of different angles you can come at this subject from, and probably lots of different theories you can run through when it comes to parallel lives and dimensions. I mean, even science is looking at it from different angles as well. So it's a very, very interesting subject. Hi, Mandy Bell. How are you doing? And thank you for sharing. So yeah, I do believe Jesse Craignou's in now. So we'll be talking to him. Hi, Jesse. How you doing?
Hi, John. Hi, everyone. Hope you're all fine. This nice weather's coming back to us, so this should boost everybody's morale, I hope, anyway. So,
yeah, definitely.
We have a lot to talk about, as you were saying just now, John. We really have a lot to talk about, as usual. And you probably have a lot of experiences to share, too. So, everybody's welcome. Yeah. That's great. Should have a nice evening.
Yeah, definitely. Like I was saying, well, Irene just said there, it's a huge subject, which it is. Irene says hello. Hiya, Vicky Gulwell. Parallel lives and dimensions and such. It's a big subject. And yeah, it's like this. You mentioned the nice weather, which it is. But as Mandy Bell's pointed out, apparently we're going to be getting snow at weekend. How was that possible? I'm just putting it out there. We're not. It's going to be barbecue weather. See if it takes effect.
Yes. Let me just get this ready. I'm ready when you are, John.
Yeah, Valerie, how you doing? So, everyone, parallel lives and universes. I mean, like we were looking at when it comes to sleeping and dreams, sometimes we get a dream of something that's going to happen, and next day, and then in the next couple of days, things happen, just like the dream says. And some people think, is that a different version of your life or a different version of reality? seeping in, and you're picking it up while you're asleep. I mean, we could look at that to start with. I mean, I kind of like it. I like that idea. What if there's just a very close version of our life, and as you're sleeping and you're open, you just pick it up, and then these things possibly happen. I just wonder what you think of that, Jesse.
Well, we really have a lot again to talk about tonight, and I've got new experiences I'd really like to share with you. I was having a channeling session with my friend here, Steve, and I said, Stefan, I can't understand why every time I come on live and talk about aliens, my face goes red, I'm all puffed up and huffed up, and I don't know what's happening. Why is it every time? And he says, actually, and he was actually connected, of course, and channeling. And he says, well, actually, we are and you are surrounded by solar people, different kinds, different races of solar people. And the reason you get like this is when you come on, they actually come close to you. And because they're so hot, coming from the sun, it actually impacts you. That's why you get all red and all puffed up and huffed up like this. So I think, oh, right, this is certainly not my best way of appearing on the screen, but there you go. The good news is we are now in contact with them, and it is really, really great. We're going to be working with them, I hope, more and more. And they come from different dimensions, of course, also. And also, this is a good example of different dimensions and how we can experience some of them. The next example I'm going to give you now. I was working on Stephen in a channel healing kind of session, and he says, I got a problem with my lower back. And I looked at him, I just scanned him. And remember, he's 300 miles away from here, okay? So we're working over the phone. And so I give him a scan and a reading, and I say, oh, yes, you've got something the size of a CD down there, just below your kidney. And I think, oh, my God, it looks like a portal. I get into it. And I think it looks like a portal. And then suddenly a gray comes out and comes to the foreground in front of that CD kind of disc there, which is, of course, immaterial because I'm looking through different levels of actually reading and dimension. And the gray comes out, he sees me, and he goes back in. And I sort of dive into that portal there, and there's a ship there, a great big craft, and it's full of people, full of aliens. And I think, oh my God, and they all look metallic like robots. And I think, oh my God, and Stefan had been feeling this. He's had this feeling, and I had that feeling also for a few months now, of suddenly my body is like metal. It's like I have rods in my body, and they're actually articulating me and helping me move like I were a kind of puppet in a way. And he felt the same. And I think, and suddenly I dive further and further into this dimension through the portal again. And I think, oh my God, these people, they're actually connected to you. You were one of them in the past. They're actually coming back to reconnect with you. I thought, this is really amazing. But he says, oh, well, we don't know what they are, etc. So I sort of ward them off and get rid of them. And then 3 days later, he contacts me again, and he says, Jesse, I've got this new pain in my back again, different side of the body. And it's there. And I said, okay, let me go and look into this. And I find these guys again. Behind there, there's a new portal they've opened there. And I find them there. And I think, oh my God. And I think, oh, right, now we're really connected. And I was actually communicating with them. And I thought, no, I better not ward them off or send them away because you really need them and they need you, actually. This is transdimensional communication through that portal. This is a portal they are opening for you to communicate with them. Maybe I've said this on this.
No. Right. So, I mean, there we're looking at the portals being there to get communications across different dimensions. Right. Because I mean, that's really interesting because in paranormal, for instance, people often think, hey, I've picked up on a portal or something on that lines. Now I don't know how common they are, or if it's possible for them to occur at any point. But I find that interesting.
There are many of them everywhere
just going
around
back
the world.
though.
Yeah.
You know when you were saying, since you've been talking about, when you talk about aliens, you get red, puffy, and that.
But look at me now.
Just wondering, since I've been talking about aliens to you, I've had some dreams where they're just totally different level. Literally, other day, I were in a dream, and it was real, like a proper, like, real dream. Like, it weren't a dream, more like an astral projection. And I was sat at a table, and they went, "We're going to do this, and it's going to be good for you." And it felt good. Everything felt right. But it's literally like they changed my blood in my dream. They hooked me up to a machine, and they changed my blood. Now, if I look back at the last few good dreams I've had, it seems alien based. It's just, and it made me wonder. I wonder if talking to Jesse and talking about aliens and things like that, if it can affect those dreams or those encounters.
They may and they may not at the same time, because they could just be opening from another dimension, and beings from another dimension actually opening portals to try and reach out for you and talk to you, or for you to reach out for them and talk to them. It could be just any of those. They work. But can I just, maybe, John, I need to get a little pedagogical here, because this is not really easy. I'm not saying people will not understand, but just in case, I just want to give you an example about parallel lives and dimensions. Imagine you're walking through a hall of mirrors. When you're walking down a hall of mirrors, all the mirrors send you a different reflection of you. Now, imagine you are walking into this hall of mirrors, and it's actually full of mirrors in all directions, like up and down and all around and everywhere. And they're all there. You can see yourself, and they can actually look into you through those mirrors, like they were different portals and dimensions. And you can actually, I go from one dimension to the next, horizontally as much as up and down. So it's really, really, for me, it's like traveling through time and space all the time, one way or another, through toing and froing in my different lives in different dimensions. We all live simultaneously. This is what I want to say, in different lives, different parallel lives, and in different dimensions at the same time. Now, most people are not aware of this. Most people are like you, John. They have dreams, and they come and they say, "Oh, Jesse, I have this recurring dreams of this or that, of this or that." And I say, "Okay, well, let's look into this." And we discover and find out lots of things. And some people just say, "Oh, every night I dream and I'm going up in the air, and suddenly I find myself on this ship, and people are like this." And I say, "Okay, so you've been abducted, right? Okay." Or I dream that I'm flying every night, etc. I said, "Okay, this is a good sign of abduction too." But when you are actually I want to give you a couple of examples, maybe, if we can do that here. There was a woman, I can't remember when it was, but let's say it was like about 20 years ago. So we're like in the year 2000, for example, around about that time. And then this woman, she's in New York on a main street, like Fifth Avenue, for example, a really big street in New York.
Yeah.
And she crosses the road because she parks. She crosses the road, that big road, to go onto the other side of the road, because she needs to go shopping there to, let's say it's a dress shop, for example. And suddenly she gets to the shop, and she looks into the window of the shop, and she's actually looking into a bakery. And she thinks, "Oh, this is strange. Maybe I got this wrong. I should be walking up and down or down the road, but I normally come here." This was a regular shop she was shopping at. And she turns around and looks back at the street, and all the cars that are there are cars from the 1940s. and she thinks, oh, she's beginning to panic. She's completely lost. She doesn't know what to do. So she turns back to the shop again, and she sees the bakery front shop window. And she thinks, oh my God, I'm going really mad here. So for lack of a better idea, she decides to turn around and cross the street back again. By the time she's back to where she had parked her car, she's back in the year 2000.
Right.
That is
Okay.
a walk, actually walk through time and space into another parallel dimension.
Right.
That is what happened. I want to give you one example before we.
Just like that, though.
Sorry?
Just on that particular example, a friend of mine, they took a photo of this area, what they were looking around, based in, with links to paranormal. And as they took a photo, there were a definite outline of an old, it were just a white, like a grayscale outline of an old, those old Citroen cars, what look a bit like a VW Beetle. They're just
The two
really
CVs.
distinct look. Yeah, and it were on the photo, but it weren't there really. It was just like a grayscale version. It's like they took a photo and somehow caught a shadow of time. So yeah, and thing is, this was reported in a few places.
Yeah, there are sometimes. I haven't really gone much into that yet because, again, I have a lot to do night and day and round the clock and round the year, but I'm hoping to get there eventually, God granting me the time, God or whoever granting me the time. But I think, and that would be interesting, and that would actually be not in the subject we'll be talking about tonight, but complementary, supplementary, as it were. Because I think there are places, and I really want to come back to this later because I haven't got enough material and nobody has any material that I know of anywhere in the world. I've scanned the whole web and everywhere for it.
Yeah.
But I think there are definitely, like you were suggesting, John, prints. And those prints, they actually also travel through time and space, or they can be seen or projected. And I don't know nor why or how they actually happen like this, but they actually do, because you're not the first person to tell me about this. And I've experienced some really strange things. For example, I'm looking outside my kitchen window. Now, I live on the top floor of a 12-story building, and I can see 360 vision of all the Paris area. And suddenly I look into the horizon and I see those great big black and gray blocks, which are not actually there in this dimension. But then I started realizing, now that was like 32 years ago when I bought the flat, every time I turned quickly around that way and I started peering into the horizon, I could see those blocks, which I knew damn well were not there, because they are not there, but they are there in another dimension. And I probably told you in another conversation how one day I could see boats lining up across the river. Okay,
you did.
One another arena, for example. And those boats, I got the message that they were actually parallel lives I was actually living. And it was really, really interesting. Now, for example, talking about parallel dimensions and parallel lives, we experience them sometimes through missing time. Now, I suppose everybody's heard about missing time when you thought you'd gone for like 4 hours and you realize or 1 hour and you sort of were gone for 5, as it were, in this dimension. And so people suddenly realize, they think, oh my God, they look at their clock and they thought like they took a 20-minute nap, and then suddenly they realize it's 7 o'clock in the evening and they left at 2 o'clock in the afternoon or something. This is what happened to Betty and Barney Hill, the first people who were abducted, known to have been abducted in America back in the 60s. And they actually realized that their 2-hour drive had taken them like 3.5-hour drive. And then going back under hypnosis, they realized they had that missing time because that part of their memory had been erased to cancel the idea or the notion or the memory, but for lack of a better idea, that they actually had gone missing. Now, some people, sometimes you see them sitting on a bench in a park, and you think, oh, they're really far away. And this is one of your friends, and you're both sitting on that bench in the park, and suddenly your friend is not there. You don't know why. You think he or she is dreamy, or maybe they're tired, or I don't know, something happens. And they're actually not there. Their body is there, but they are not there. They're probably in another dimension at that time. And this is also another experience of missing time. They have actually switched dimensions. Their body is there, or a projection of their body is there, but they're not there. And they may be very vague when you try and talk to them. You know, they cannot actually really speak and hold the proper conversation as you would be having with your friend on a regular day. And then you think, my God, you know, Jenny is really, what's happening to her? You know, she doesn't really talk like she would normally. But then she's not there. Jenny's not there. Jenny's body is there, or picture is there. She's in another dimension, and we to and fro without realizing that all the time. Yes, John, go on.
Yeah. I just want to say, so anyone in comments, if you've got any experiences with like a missing time, maybe that'd be interesting. There's a couple of comments to put up on screen in a bit, but I just want to, you know, that journey that you were mentioning that took an hour extra and things like this is a proper. This is an experience. There were me, Phil, and a friend, and at the time we were driving through Peak District, and we got up to the top of this like hill range. It was nice weather. We got to the top, and it was really thick mist, like fog. I think it a cloud, so a weather movement came in, and we got to the top. We looked through viewing frame that's there, the surrounding area, which is really nice. And there were a TV or radio broadcasting station at top. We were there, and all of a sudden they closed roads off, and we couldn't get down. We were just stuck on top. Now we know we were there for 45 minutes. By the time we'd come down and the weather were perfectly fine, there were no blockages or anything. We all looked at each other and we agreed we'd lost an hour.
It went somewhere.
Yeah, well, it must have. But we were on top of that.
It certainly went somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, we can't answer it to this day. Actually, Phil, I know you're there. Can you remember that? We were in P District, a radio broadcasting state. We got up to the top. These highway agencies turned up, blocked it off both sides. We had to wait. That was 45 minutes. But by the time we come down, we looked at the time. It's like an extra hour we're added on.
That's missing time.
Yeah. Phil's just put yes. He can remember that. How can we forget? It's. I just want to say hello to everyone. Drew.
Yeah, you want to say something, John?
Oh yeah, just want to say hello to Drew, Linda, Teela, Kirsty. How you doing?
Hi everyone, joining the show.
Yep. Thank you very much for joining. And so, yeah, that it was strange. I mean, we never fell asleep. It was middle of the day. We didn't fall asleep. There was none of that. It was just, an extra hour turned up from somewhere. Annette Lockhart mentioned this in past. This is interesting. Yes, me and my partner went to bed at 11 at night and woke up 11 the next night. And it were both of them. I mean, that's odd.
Yeah, that's one of the most regular events that happen. Now, let's imagine something. There are films on the internet talking about this and showing examples of this. Now, where people literally disappear in front of a camera. The camera they walk through an invisible wall, and the next step they're taking, they're not there. That's what happened to one of my sisters-in-law in Tehran. She's crossing a double dual carriageway. Now you have 4 lanes one side, 4 lanes the other side. She wants to cross the road, and there's very slow traffic, and Iranians are really, really cool. They let you go and walk right through the traffic. And suddenly they, just a minute everyone.
Okay, no problem.
She's putting her foot down on the curb, and she wants to cross. And suddenly, in the middle of the traffic, she had not seen a lorry coming right for her at full speed. Now, this is not normal. I've crossed many roads over many years in Iran and in Tehran. This just does not happen. Iranians are really cool. They're like the Brits, you know. They see you coming next to the road and wanting to. You there? Yeah. Okay. So she's suddenly sees the lorry now right in front of her by then. And then it's like time froze, picture froze, everything's just gone. The next second, I'm not saying minute, I'm saying second, she finds herself 8 lanes further on the other side of the road. She doesn't know how she got there. Nobody took her there. She doesn't remember actually crossing the road or anything, or the cars or traffic slowing down or whatever. She's just there. And she doesn't know where the time between one pavement and the other one went. It's like nothing happened there. She just literally switched places.
Right. So, I mean, is there anyone that's could be controlling these parallel dimensions or lives? Could another version of you?
Yeah, it's like everywhere. Now, when we incarnate, when we come into this life, we have a plan. This plan is our matrix, our own individual matrix for our life, which can be changed. Some people think, oh no, it's all done, it's destiny and it can't be changed. Yes, it can, anytime. You can change it anytime. But more often than not, you will have decided and actually signed contracts, as it were, that you would be living this and that. Even if you can change it, people don't even think about it. They just go through the run-of-the-mill karmic sort of thing. But then what happens is they suddenly realize odd things are happening, and then sometimes they wake up, like it's happened to me and a lot of people I know, and we think, oh my God, this is really strange. I mean, I wake up in the middle of the night and there are 5 green guys there at the foot of the bed, like in the Kate Bush song I was talking about in a past show. And I think, oh, who's that? They don't look really like the regular kind of guy you meet on the street or you walk with. And these people, they also work in different dimensions. My example at the beginning of the show tonight is actually going through a portal. A portal is a doorway into another dimension. And this is what happened. They come through different dimensions. Now, if I look at different levels, like I can scan, for example, different dimensions, I can scan now up to at least 9D, and humans are 3D, okay? I go up to 9D. And I can see, for example, in my bedroom, I mean, this is crazy to say, there is actually a craft there. So when I tune into that, I actually connect to that craft and I take off and I go. But then I'm in another dimension. The person, my wife sleeping next to me, will not know the difference. She will just see my body there and probably snoring, and I'll be there in bed, I'm sleeping.
Yeah.
But then I come back and I have all these stories. Now, my wife is quite she's quite aware of a lot of these things too. So it's no surprise to her, no shock. But this is what happens. One day we were at a friend's house, and we were upstairs where he has a music studio, and they were music and singing, my wife and him. And then suddenly she says, "Oh, I need to go to the toilet." And that was the first time she went there. So my friend says, "Oh, it's downstairs," etc. She goes downstairs, my phone rings with her name coming up. I try and answer the call, and the line goes dead. I say, okay, I'll call her back. Maybe she just blocked herself in the toilet or something. And then I cannot get through to her. Okay, so I say, okay, she's going to come back or manifest one way or another, or come back up or call again or whatever. I continue talking to my friend, and suddenly she comes back up. And I said, "Why did you call me? Was there a problem?" She said, "But I didn't call you." I said, "But you did." She said, "No, I never called you." I said, "But look, 1736, there is your incoming call. 1737, there is my outgoing call to you. It's here on the screen." And she says, "No, I never called you." She says, "In fact, I left the phone in this room. It's on the table behind you."
Cool. Looks like the internet's just buffering on.
At the system, it wasn't the telephone lines. There's no way.
Right, yeah, we're just seeing if we can get connection back with Jesse.
Yeah.
Right.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we've got you back. There we go.
Yeah, sorry everybody, there's a bad connection here at the moment. I don't know why. I'm supposed to call my operator again. Let me make a note of this. But anyway, yeah, that's just another example. Well, what was she during that time?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that is that. I mean, if we can go back to that question. When these things happen, where are you? Where do people go? Because that, I think that, I mean, that is the first thing that you're going to be concerned about, aren't you? It's like, okay, if I've lost an hour, where have I been? Where have I actually been? I ain't done out wrong, have I? You know.
Yeah, some people think they're going mad. They're losing their sense of reality. Yeah. Little are they aware, or not at all sometimes, that they're actually not switch channels, as it were, and they are in another dimension doing something they won't remember, because in that other dimension their life may be entirely different or very similar. She may be the same person, for example.
Yeah, definitely. We just losing. Oh, we're just losing Jesse there for a minute there. Right, we've got you back. There you are. So
yeah, we're all back.
That is a definite. I mean, that's a definite question. It's going to leave you with where have you been, what you've been up to. A bit like you said, you might be in a different channel of your like reality, and
on another place.
Yeah, and you're not going to remember what you've been doing. So yeah, but this one from Irene, for instance, I have memories of the Japanese royal family, and I know what happens, and I find who is who I know and how to conduct myself aside from what my mum used to tell me. I wonder if it was my past life. Everything I do controls and do things that way. It was my past life. I belong to the same Shinto shrine because I'm not Buddhist. And the family was all non-practicing Catholics. So I feel that connection to this day. So that's like, I mean, is that possible where there's another version of Irene, what's carried on in a different path connected to her past, and it's running alongside?
Yeah, I cannot really say offhand like this with the material Irene has just supplied us, but we could really look into this, for example, and go into that. I mean, Irene, there are certainly more Irenes to the Irene we know and who's talking to us tonight in this life and in other lives, because we are and we're experiencing different things. It could be a past life. I mean, what you're saying there, but I would need to get into this with you. Looks and sounds, it's got all the makings of a past life, but we would need to really go into that, because there are other signs. I talked about induced dreams in our last programs. They are there. John, you were saying, is there anybody behind us there somewhere pulling the strings? Oh yes, there are. I mean, there are things we want to do all our, I mean, for example, there are things we want to do all our life, and we will do, everything we can, every which way we can to get there, and it will never work, because, and it's happened to me. And one day, not that it didn't take me the whole stretch of 40 years, but I got there eventually. One day I got yeah, a bit late rather, but I wanted to be on stage. Actually, I trained as a singer and dancer for 8 years, and I wanted to be in musicals and all the music business, etc. And then I broke my back because they decided, and apparently I had agreed to this before I actually incarnated in this life, and then that I would not be there because it was not what I was supposed to do, what I was best at, or what they decided I was supposed to do, and they decided I would do that. Yes, there is that. Another thing, John, before I hand it back to you, for example, you may be suffering, which was the case of my friend Stefan at the beginning of the show, but my wife also, she had a pain behind her head there all the time. And there was nothing that would relieve that pain. We just tried everything under the sun. We tried in Iran when we were in Iran. We tried back in Europe when we were in Europe. I've lost count of all the doctors and specialists she went to see. Nothing just would work, whether traditional medicine or alternative medicine, nothing just worked. And then one day she said, oh, I really need a reaction because I feel there is a channeling session coming through. And in fact, it was a light being from another dimension actually trying to connect to her. And every time she realized that through our session we did there and then. Every time she was feeling that pain, he was there, like knocking at the door, except it was at the back of her head. And he just wanted communication, and he had things to tell her, and us even sometimes. So that guy was in another dimension. Yeah.
Yeah, and I really do get that, actually. So if anyone's in comments, if you've had an experience or you've been drawn to something for what it don't make sense for why. For instance, from being young, I mean, I've told Irene about this. I've always been drawn to Japanese history, and I'm saying this, I've got no Japanese relatives. There were no one talking about Japan around me. But from a young age, first dictionary I got were a Japanese to English dictionary. I've got it downstairs, actually. And it was just really strange how I was drawn to that. And like watching, reading Bushido, things like that, the Japanese texts and stuff. I've always been drawn that way. Why? I don't know. It was like an attraction to it straight off. I can't even pin it down from when, really. So yeah, I do.
Are often the case of something emerging from a past life. And I've told you, John, I think offline, that you had a life in 1321 in Japan. So that's just ringing back. It's just taking you back to there. Now, we would need to go back, like, for example, through a karmic regression and explore that if you ever wanted that. And that would tell you things. I mean, if it is emerging now, it means there is a need for this somewhere, somehow. And it's up to you whether you want to explore that and get into that. But that is, to the best of my knowledge, the only way. Excuse me, everyone. I've got a speck of dust in my throat.
Yeah, no problem.
And it's
And just want to say, yeah, Irene's put we connected immediately with each other and became friends so fast. And yeah, it is true. Uh, it's so and just that what you put up here, Irene. I mean, Jesse's looked at it, and it is something you'd have to look into, but it does sound like maybe it's possible it could be a link to a parallel version of Irene, traveling along.
yeah, imagine, Irene, you're walking out of your house and you have some house somewhere, wherever you live, and then it's bright sunshine, and suddenly you remember you parked your old MG in your up your alleyway last night, and you're going to go out for a drive, and you have a Rolls Royce there parked there, and you haven't won the lottery or anything. It's just there, and you don't know why. And suddenly, at the same time, you think, "Oh my God, what's that car doing there? Let me go and see whether I can find out who it belongs to." And you turn back to your house, and you suddenly realize you have a great big mansion there, and it's not your house anymore, and you're not in the same town. That is evidence of a parallel life, for example.
Yeah, yeah, and it's amazing because people have reported these things. There were something else I was going to mention. Yeah, you know when it comes to pulling the strings of events occurring in this life. For instance, there's a film, I'm not sure if you've seen it. It's called Adjustment Bureau. Yes. Now, I watch lots of films. I watched this film, and it got me thinking because I thought, let's just think those people. I don't know if people have seen it in comments. Adjustment Bureau. It's a good film. I saw those people in bowler hats as the watchers. People, the ones that just watch. Because many years ago, I had a dream, and it was this guy running through woods, and he had a book, but then it became not a book. It's so strange. Information traveled to this other being in a different way. Anyway, I asked about this dream when I fell asleep next day. The guy was a book runner, and it were writing down the events that's occurring in this life, and this being were taking it off him to see what were happening, to make sure everything were in order. And after watching Adjustment Bureau, and these people basically administrating humans, making sure they're going in a certain direction so things pan out a certain way. I thought that concept, it's a bit strange, but what if? I don't know what you think to that. I mean, that's that film, and that's what it got me thinking. Is the people watching to make sure things turn out in a certain way? And is it their agenda? And is it for best, or is it just for them? It just made me think that.
You're just going straight back to what we talked about in our other show about what happens in our sleep, for example. This is more related to that sort of event, but it is also connected to other dimensions because those guys are actually in another parallel dimensions and pulling the strings and things. Yes, they are doing that. The guy, when I was talking about the example with my wife earlier on, this guy, he told us that we had actually been brought together to Earth from distant planets, her, me, my way, but really distant planets from Earth and from one another. We had been selected because they had decided to use some people, i.e. her and I, to come together on this in this life on Earth, live and experience together on Earth, and have children on Earth. Now, it's not going to happen because we're divorcing, and we don't have children. But as I said in a past show, my wife and I had actually met many times aboard a ship, and we have children, 3 children aboard that ship. So somehow they got their way to some extent. But there was a sort of a second I wouldn't like to say a plan B, because it was like the continuity maybe of their first plan. I don't know who these people are, because the guy could never tell us the name of his planet. Now, many aliens don't have a name for their planets, so they cannot give it to us. When they do, and I usually ask them through channeling sessions and karmic regression sessions, I say, okay, what do humans know your planet? Yes or no? If they know your planet, what do they call it? Because if they have a name for it, more often than not, they don't. But when they do, I said, okay, this is, say you call your name Spitz, for example, in your language. What what name did the humans, if they know this planet, give your planet? Could be Kepler 162b, for example, or whatever. And then we know where they are from. It's the same when we ask for their names. We say, okay, what can we call you? What's your name? And we have no answer. They just do not answer. They say, okay, here humans have individual names. What is your name? Say, oh no, we have no name. We don't have names.
Yeah, I mean, names, for instance, they've changed a lot. We used to have just one particular name. Now it broke up into two names. So, I mean, it's changed for us on Earth. So yeah, I get you. What if there's alien races out there and they just don't need names? They talk in a different way. All of a sudden, it becomes redundant. So yeah, I get you.
Yeah, they do not need a name, John, because they have a cosmic brain. They are interconnected all the time.
Yeah. So
that's completely trivial. They don't even operate like that, as it were. They don't need them. It's like we had an extra limb we didn't use, like we lost our tail over evolution, apparently, because it's not actually true, but we won't go into that tonight.
I'm with you on that one.
We are supposed to. Yeah, maybe we should have a show on that someday, John. And that would be the object, definitely be the object of another show. But suppose we had a tail in the past, proto-humans had a tail, and then we lost it with evolution. Okay, well, that's fine. That's a nice story. And they lost, a lot of them, for example, aliens, they cannot even speak. They don't even have a language as such, because everything they think, they say, they communicate is just send vibrations. And it's all in the communal brain, as it were. That's what I call it, a cosmic brain. It's just open to anyone who is on that dimension and who wants to connect, and not necessarily only people on their planet. Actually, it could be from other planets and other races, and sometimes very, very distant.
Yeah. There's a comment here from Annette Locke. When it comes to places, I were mentioning for instance, Japan. It would place what just came out at me from a young age. Annette Locke says, mine is Greece. I've always felt someone sits waiting for me on the steps of a building. I've been to Greece to find them, but so far I've not found them. I mean, yeah, that's there. Another
Sorry
experience.
About that. Yeah, but we get these. Maybe I've told this already, but I lived in Switzerland for a period, and at that time I was working in catering in a big hotel and restaurant, and I was working in the restaurant. So I had my afternoon break, like all restaurant people had, and I used to walk down a couple of roads to this really nice park there for a break, and then have a snooze there in the middle of the trees, birds and butterflies, and you name it. And I walk down the road, and at the beginning of the road, this guy comes and he talks to me. I mean, at the time I was 26, and he was like my age, and he was really nice and friendly, and he started asking me how I was, etc. I said, I'm fine, and I thought, oh, this guy's really friendly. But anyway, we started, we got into chatting for a little bit, and I thought, after a while, I realized, I thought, this guy knows me. I said, excuse me, but who are you? He said, oh, well, you know me with blah, blah, blah. And he started telling me. And I said, oh, I'm sorry, I don't remember you. But, I'm really bad with it. I have no memory of faces or names. So it's really terrible with me, which is true. And so then we talked for like 20 minutes and walked down the road. And then he said, oh, this is where I live. I live with my parents. This is their house. And we'll certainly meet soon again. I said, yeah, I have a break every day, so maybe if I come back. He said, well, come up for a coffee one day. So, okay. Then I took leave of him. He went back home. And I go to my park. I have my break there. I come back. I work. Now, every day I went back there, down that road. I never saw the house again or the guy. He was obviously in another dimension. And he knew me.
Yeah. So, and that would have been, I mean, it's a gift both ways, but that would have been a gift for that guy to being able to meet you. Has he been viewing you for a while? You know, that kind of thing.
Probably it served some purpose somewhere along the line, yeah, or down the line.
Yeah.
I hope so. I mean, not that it helped me beyond the fact that having met a nice guy and having had a nice chat, but I never saw him again.
Yeah.
And
So, for instance,
yeah, John.
Well, yeah. Now, I was thinking, for instance, like Annette Locke there. What if that character she meets in a totally different location? You know,
She could be having a life in Greece at the moment, and that would be that person she's actually meeting. Yes.
Yeah.
It
really is.
To explore that. We cannot just this is not being the matter of being necessarily psychic and saying, oh yes, you have this or that connection. This is something completely different. It's a different exercise altogether. And yes, and looked into it. Took me all my life, and as I said before, I'm 60 now. You know, I'm discovering new things all the time, especially in the past year and this year. You know, I'm discovering new things, and I've just learned that I've moved up again another 2 dimensions. So, which means I'm experimenting new things and discovering new things and new people from those dimensions. It's new things all the time.
Yeah,
I don't have 2 hours that are the same, 2 days that are the same. They're just different all the time.
No, that is it's amazing at the same time. Everything being so different, but there's another thing that I've wrote down actually. I'm just looking at best way of wording it. Right, yeah. So I've always liked numbers. I like numerology, and it started in 1997 when I was watching a film called Pi. It's actually the symbol of a pie, and I don't know if you've seen that film, but it's about a guy and he's looking for a pattern in stock market. But he ends up finding a pattern that some Jewish people are looking for in Bible. But it becomes a pattern in life, and that got me thinking in 97 about numbers and your dimension that we're in, life that we're taking. Now, with numerology, there's like that law of attraction, how to change your life through numbers. And I was thinking, what if life runs as a set of numbers, and then there's another version of our life running as a set of numbers, and that's where numerology comes from. I don't know what you think to that, but it just got me thinking about numbers. In that concept.
Tagging on to your ID, John, I want to give another example that really illustrates that well. It's a film called Interstellar, and it's a really great film, and it shows how people actually live together and yet in different dimensions. I really recommend that film. It's not easy to get into, actually. I mean, I've got thick skin, but it was really hard for me to get into this. And at the same time, all I could say was good about it, but I wish I understood it the first time, and then I could see what they were getting at. But there was something missing somewhere I couldn't grasp. And I watched it another time, and then I thought, okay. Yeah. I think the guy who did this is Andrew Niccol, and he's really, really good with science fiction. But it was really, really good. Now, for the higher, the universe is a form of matrix, as it were, that goes in all directions. It's not just a screen, a sort of backdrop kind of screen that is there. It's just in all directions. It's all our body, everything is just numbers. Einstein would have told you that, and he probably said it in his time. But we are now in a quantum universe, which means we realize that everything is actually down to one thing: vibration. Vibration, the name of the game, is the word. It is the fiat lux. When God said, "Let there be light," in fact, that was vibration. The first sound that ever came, the sound of the Big Bang, if you like to call it that. And from there, everything went ballistic and in all directions, and creation started the way humans see it. Now, it's not the same for aliens or people from different dimensions, but for humans, the closest way, and I'm going back to your idea there, John, to actually grasp somehow what the universe is and what the quantum universe is actually numbers. Yeah.
Right, yeah. So if there's a different version of me, running a different life, will it be running it at a different set of numbers, for instance?
Yep. It's like your DNA code, okay? Your DNA code is you, and then you may have another DNA code or more strands to your DNA somewhere else, one way or another, whether it's lateral or whether it's up or down or both. And there are actually more than, I'm saying, left, right, center, and then up and down. But, I mean, in the universe, the number of dimensions and directions is actually unlimited. There's no way we can actually perceive them. I think I've said this before again, but I can see light dimensions that humans can't see.
Yeah, it's right. Yeah, so basically,
with vibrations, and so understanding.
Oops. It's all right, guys. Thanks for being with us. Just getting connection back.
Yeah, sure.
That's okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. There we go. We're back.
Okay.
So, I mean that's brilliant. I mean, what it's doing there is, and let us know what you think in comments, everyone. When we're looking at life, when we're looking at even in the field that we're looking a lot, and that's in the paranormal, even more so in paranormal, because in paranormal we look for things what are odd, synchronicities, time slips, all these things that we look for. And what we're looking at here is the fabric of what we're trying to understand, and there's a lot more than what we can see and experience, isn't there? Basically,
it's a very dense mesh to begin with, and again, it's got so many different dimensions. Remember my example of a hall of mirrors at the beginning of the show tonight, and then really the easiest way. This is how I would explain it to a child, probably, or a layman, a newcomer to the idea, and it explains it well. And then once you've got that grade, you can move on to the Interstellar film I was talking about. Can't remember who plays in it. It's somebody famous. I think they are the Wachowski, the ex-brothers, now sisters, because they both sex change. Wachowski. And they did this film. They are also the people who did The Matrix. They actually did The Matrix. And if you they're really good with their science fiction. They know their stuff. I really like their films.
Right, yeah, I will. I'll be watching that. I've watched the others that you mentioned, by the way. Really good films. I'm trying to think of the Jupiter one. Jupiter Ascending, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the one.
Brilliant film. And so I haven't watched Interstellar, so I'll be watching that. I've got.
It is. Sorry, John. Excuse me, John, for cutting in. It is actually the sisters I was talking about just now, Wachowski. It is them. They did that film,
Right.
and they are the people who did the series. Yeah, maybe we'll do. Maybe one day we'll do a show where I talk about all those films and etc. That would be probably interesting for a few people. There are lots of stuff to be connected there. Over to
Yeah.
you, John.
No, yeah. I think it's just the lag sometimes. So yeah, I mean, also these films, like for somebody to be able to direct and produce the film Adjustment Bureau, and even the film that we've talked about in the past, Inception. I know it's a different subject, but for people to be able to roll out those films, they've got to have a deep understanding of what we're talking about, and that's at least what they may see as a really good theory on how things work. I mean, they really need to have that pinned down in their mind to be able to produce Inception as a film, or Adjustment Bureau. So, I mean, I find that interesting because it shows us that there's people out there, they're really thinking about this. So I think that's good. I think that's good.
They are often are connected too.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they've got to be, aren't they? Because they're thinking these things, that they're creating material to support what they're thinking, and it's spreading. So yeah.
And remember, aliens, yeah, and there are also many, many, many different aliens who want to come together with humans now more and more, and they're actually inducing ideas and dreams, like we said in the past show, again on the Lost World of Sleep, excuse me, and they are actually passing on messages through those things. That started way back with Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Now that was 1976, I think. Stuff like that. And yeah, there are many, many, many. I really have a list of. I mean, we've been exchanging with you, John, and Philip too, about all these things. Like we talked about a film called a series called Sense8, which is just brilliant.
Yeah.
And some people really, it's absolutely great. And some people really have ideas to share. They really want humans to understand. I mean, I've had it, to be honest. I mean, I've had enough of all those American films where we have all the American cliches and etc. I've got nothing against Americans, but I mean, I don't want this anymore in my life. We've got to take it one step beyond. Oh, beyond is a good word for a dimension. But we've got to take this one step beyond. Once I've come to realize or to learn or to understand or all that together, one thing, I don't want to step back. I don't want to rewind. I'm not interested. I want to move forward, and that's what we all do, because we need to discover a new thing. Life moves on. We move on. We need to move on and up.
Yes, definitely. It's an ascension process. So yeah, definitely on that. There were another thing that I just want to mention while we're in this subject. Hi Marie, how you doing? I hope everything's well. Yeah, so I mean, this one happened. I mentioned the dream that I had about being in a shop, and I saw the World War III silver plate, and then I took a day off work. Monday, it was Sunday I had the dream. Monday I went to work. Tuesday, I just stayed in and watched news. And that was day of 9/11, right? So in that dream, something we're just saying, something big's going to happen. I totally didn't, I forgot about it Monday, but a car number plate saying W111 reminded me about it. And I wrote it on an envelope. I still got envelope. I don't know why, but I think if anyone ever doubts me and they really want a carbon date when I wrote that letter, here, you can have it. Pin that down. But that's my dream. It's what happened. I remember that just sat watching, waiting for something. It was strange. But then it got me looking, and there's a global consciousness program, and they've got random number generators all over the planet. And what they're saying is, when big events happen in human society, random numbers start building in patterns as they get closer to these events. And what they're saying is, universe is conscious of what we're doing. And sometimes there's like little, they try and give us an heads up on certain things that happen. I don't know what you think to that. Oh no, I've got to repeat that. I hope you heard it. You all right, everyone? Thanks for being with us. I were just mentioning a dream that I had, and it kind of gave me a premonition of something pretty big happening at that time, and something big did happen. It was terrible, but it was something big happened, and yeah, all around the world they do have a global consciousness program where they run random numbers, and during big events in human society, these random numbers become patterned. Phil, have we got Jesse? I hope everyone's well. Just let us know in comments. Also, before we get to end it, sure, if you've any questions on parallel lives and universes, just put them in comments and we'll see what theory we've got for it. Hiya, Karen. How you doing? Michael Hartley, hello.
Hi, John. Excuse me, everybody.
Yes.
I just slipped into another dimension for a spell there.
That's it. Yeah,
We're back.
We're back. Yeah, yeah. I was just letting you know about the that global consciousness program where they run random number generators right now, and they've realised during big human events, not just the terrible things, but like a Super Bowl event, random numbers start spitting out. They start connecting across globe, and then it's left some to say the universe is conscious of what we're doing. Also, sometimes it tries to gives us an heads up on things that are to happen. I was just wondering what you might think to that.
There is a good reason for that, John.
Yep.
And I will tell you, I'm not the first one to say this, but I will tell you, and the older I get and the more experience I get into that field, and the higher I raise my vibration and everything I do for work here along those lines, is we are the universe. It's us. We create everything with every one of our own very thoughts. The universe doesn't exist. The Hindu have a word for it. It's called Maya. Maya means illusion. We are a dream. We are a dream within a dream, and this dream is the dream we are. That is our destiny. We can reprogram our DNA anytime, only more often than not. Some people just can't be bothered. Most people don't know. Some people it takes up all sorts to make one work.
Right, yeah, we just lost you a bit there, but yeah, that message, we're in a dream of a dream, and I was going to say, yeah, it's about the manifesting his own reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are manifesting our own reality. We're manifesting the world. It doesn't exist as such. Imagine when you go on a shopping spree or on a binge, and you're buying all those things. You'd be quite shocked probably to know that none of those things actually exist. They're in your mind.
Yeah. And
only somehow somebody took that money out of your bank account, which is the bad news.
Yeah. Yeah. And
which is when the truth hits you after a while, or you reconnect to this dimension.
Yeah, and then it hits you. But yeah, it's there's a lot of science is changing such a lot as well to the outlook of what this is all about as well. So they're definitely on board with the fact that by viewing things, we change it. But we change things by just viewing it, because we're not just viewing it, we're thinking about it and connecting. So yeah, it's an amazing thing, which I suppose it does generate a good message as well. A positive, simply having a positive outlook can help build a better world around you as well.
You've got to work at it over a stretch of time. It just doesn't happen like this. But this is what faith, I suppose, boils down to. And then we reprogram things, but we also need to work on this on different levels. This is why, for example, the law of attraction doesn't work, because it doesn't work like that. So that's you cannot produce results with something that doesn't work. It's like you're trying to drive a car that hasn't got any petrol in the tank. It's not going to take you anywhere because you don't have the petrol to begin with. But it's the same with the law of attraction. Now, many people have written books, have given shows, videos, you name it, about the law of attraction, and they say, oh, yes, if you do this, you do this, you do that. And I feel like saying to those guys, I say, excuse me, what are you doing here on this show? If you're really so good with the law of attraction, you should be a millionaire and living in some hunky paradise somewhere, and not coming here begging for money on those shows and trying to, peddling your books along. If you were really that good and if it really worked.
Yeah.
I mean, I certainly knew if I could use the law of attraction, I'd say, okay, hey guys, I need 10 millions now. And then you never see me for dust again, ever.
Yeah. I'm done. Yeah, I know what you mean. It is a very good point. Yeah, because and I just Michael Hartley, John, have you or Jess ever met your double? I have, and it's a very strange feeling, really weird. Yeah. No, I don't think. No, I haven't actually. No, I don't think I have.
I haven't, but I know people who have, and it is apparently really scary. My wife has. One of her sisters has. I know other people who have. But the other thing, which is in a way connected to this idea, is people have seen me in places where I've never been. The first time I told you about Switzerland a moment ago, but the first time I went to Hong Kong, people knew me in Hong Kong. I'd never been to Hong Kong. People knew me. I don't know where from. Somebody also one day called me and said, oh, I saw you in Paris, but I wasn't even in France. How could you see me in Paris? It was obviously somebody else. They said, oh, no, we had a chat. They said, oh, no, we had a chat. I said, we did? Okay, well, then some Jesse was there, but it wasn't this one.
Yeah. I mean, that is strange. It is that's interesting, and yeah, Michael, that interests me. That on how you might have how that happened. Yeah, that's good.
I can do amazing things with computers, credit cards, and telephones. For example, I had this friend many years ago. She started. We became friends through work. So she was a colleague originally. She's called Cattell. And we met regularly. Then she emigrated to Canada after a couple of years. But one day she calls me. I got home late, and I had it was in those days when we still had those physical answering machines. And I usually turned in late anyway because I was working really, really long hours. And I listened to the messages. There was a message from Cattell there. And she says, "Oh, Jesse, I'm really sorry. I haven't got back to you. We'll get to apologize for you not returning my call because I didn't call you." I said, I would have been happy to call you, but as it happens, I didn't. So I was busy. You were busy. I don't know, but I never called you. And she said, "Oh, but you did." I said, No, I didn't, Cattell. I never called you. Not in the last 2 weeks. I certainly didn't. She said, "But you called me a week ago and you left a message on my answer phone." I thought, now I would really like to hear that because I certainly didn't message on the answer phone on a code I didn't make. So
yeah. I'd like to hear that version of me.
Yeah, it was really interesting. Challenging and interesting at the same time, and eerie. And I said, "Okay, so what happened?" She said, "Well, listen, I haven't actually erased that message. I'm going to replay it for you." Now, I have quite an original voice, especially when I was younger. I had a different voice then, and it was really original for most people you'd come across. And I'm here on the phone, and I'm listening to that message she thinks I had left. And I think, my God, this is really my voice. And so I left her a message. She plays the message through, and I said, "Oh, Cattell, that was there talking to your answering machine because it wasn't me. There was another one somewhere from another dimension who obviously stepped out of that dimension to call you because maybe I was thinking of you at the time, and they did the job for me."
Right, yeah. I mean, to think about that happening, it's I mean that in itself some interesting, but it could land you in a few spots of trouble as well, I bet.
Or the number of times I've tried. Now I have 3 credit cards, 3. Okay, the number of times I couldn't pay with any of them. Because just the fact that I was there and holding them, they just wouldn't go to work. And there was no way I could pay. And I'm the kind of person who never has cash on me. So it's really embarrassing.
Yeah.
I have time sometimes to pay for my shopping and then I pay them back. It's happened.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy how it. Oh yeah, there's a comment on screen, and then there's just one that I'm going to go back to. Hi, Karen. After my mother passed away, I was working in my shop, and a woman came in to buy perfume, and she was the double of my mother. I mean, that's.
Yeah. It would be interesting to talk to your mother, Karen, and actually try and explore this and see what connection you had to that other woman who was her double. That would be really, really interesting.
Yeah, and that's interesting how it happened during that time as well of those events. So yeah, Annette Locke. I know someone who bumped into the double of my partner that passed. He said he nearly had an heart attack. I mean, bumping into someone.
There's nothing to fear as such. I mean, I would probably laugh it off. I would, it's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah.
It's worth looking. Things. It's happened to me a couple of times. Once I was at a cafe terrace in the summer in Paris, and the waiters never saw me, and I was calling, waving at them, and they just didn't see me. I had to leave eventually because I had to go to my appointment, and I was early for that appointment. I was going to enjoy my coffee on that cafe terrace, but I never got it. And then I went. That was on the Champs-Élysées, actually, on the Champs-Élysées, and opposite that cafe, a great big cafe there was the Virgin Megastore back in the days of the Virgin Megastores. And I thought, oh, okay, I've just got to nip in there, pick up a couple of CDs and then go. She never saw me. She looked right through me at the person behind me. I couldn't pay. I had to leave my CDs there and come back another time. She never saw me. Where had I gone? That was really embarrassing at the same time. Now I'm laughing at it, but it's quite an eerie experience.
Yeah,
and it's happened. Yeah, it happened to me in another shop recently. A woman who was looking at me, I was going around the shop. She was an employee from that supermarket. And then I go to the till, and it was a quiet time of the day, so I was the only customer there at the till, not in the shop, but at the till. And then I waited, and she looked at me, and I thought, okay, she's going to come in a minute. She's just shelf-filling. And then she didn't. And then I eventually called her and actually reached out to her from there on. And she'd been looking at me, going this way and that, doing my shopping while she was working, and even smiling at me. And she came to the till. She said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I never saw you." I said, "You mean you never saw me? I've been in the shop for 20 minutes, and I passed you by a few times. You smiled at me, etc." She said, "No, I never saw you." Okay, well, you didn't.
Yeah, and I can imagine problem with that, because you know you're there. You know they're there, but they can't see you. It's like, yeah, it's an issue, isn't it? You know, yeah.
Well, this explains why I never ran for politics or anything like this.
Yeah, you're gonna try and do the speech, and oh, I'm not there. It's like I'm not going to get anywhere.
Nobody's now this is really embarrassing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have something from Marina.
Yeah, we have. I've had that too, where we've seen a double of a loved one who recently passed. My uncle passed away, and 3 days after he died, I was in the same place my uncle lived, and I saw his double. I was so sure it was him, I even shouted, "Uncle Bill." The bloke looked at me, totally gone out. Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen my double, but I have seen someone, and I'll be honest with you, I had to walk away, and they were saying, "No, I'm not that person." I'm looking, and I'm thinking, I even said, I went, "Yeah, you are, you know me." And then I looked, and I thought, right, this person really believes it's not this person. I walked away thinking, I've just forgot in that moment of time. But I had to leave, and I was confused. I was like, that were them. Even to this day, it must have been them, you know. But anyway, they probably thought I was just cracking up, and I was thinking, "Hey, what's going off?" You know. It's but like that comment there from
John, or maybe you were cracking up, and you all those mirrors in that hall of mirrors of cracking up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
That's how people get crazy. But if I may just say something in edgeways here, John, this message from Marie, I wasn't there, and we only know what she just put there. But it seems to me it was more like not necessarily her uncle's double, but probably her uncle who was actually there as a departed. He came back to see her.
Yeah,
Marie,
I get you.
More.
Yeah.
That looks to me more like that kind of experience. But then again, it's worth exploring.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. Thank you for your comments, everyone. And yeah, it's amazing. And I think best thing we can look at with this is the things that we come across what are totally out of ordinary. And they might come across as strange, embarrassing, or even a bit scary, at the beginning. When you look back at them, there's a lot of reasons why these things can be happening. So I think, and it all kind of connects in a very complex, in a complex way as well. So I think it's good we've looked at this, because I mean, even science is looking at this right now. Looking at it all the time, aren't they?
The
Like
trouble,
on a
sorry,
quantum level, things like that.
yeah, the trouble with most scientists and traditional science is they're looking in the wrong place and the wrong
Yeah.
way. I've had some scientists talk to me and they say, "Oh, Jesse, I want to do this. I want to see aliens. I want to do this." And I said, "Okay, this is where you got to start." They say, "Oh
Mm.
no, but I learn, and in my job we do this like this and like that." I said, "Okay, you want to do it this way? What have you found? Nothing." I say, "Well, that's what I was just explaining. That's why you found nothing." It's like I was talking about Titan with you the other day, and if we go to Titan, we will never see the people who are there, and we will probably never be able to live there because it's not meant for us. I mean, the regular guy or girl walking down the street, you have to evolve. This is,
Mm.
you were talking about the ascension process. Now, we can be in different dimensions at the same time and be aware of it. Most people are not. I am aware of the different dimensions I am in at the same time until I finally physically move up there all together. We can also be aware of being there at the same time and actually to and fro, up and down, left, right, center, and back, anyway, and just hop and switch channels anytime or dimensions.
That's amazing, definitely. And yeah, I mean, thank you again for this, Jesse. I think it's an
Thanks everyone
excellent.
for being there.
Yeah, definitely. And I'd just like to say goodbye for now to Karen. She's out having to go. But yeah, a really interesting subject, and it really is one that it spans into a load of other subjects as well, doesn't it? Because yeah, we can get like symptoms from this kind of subject in many other ways, like in sleep, aliens, the Watchers. All these things can come from this particular subject, where what we're really looking at is we're more interconnected than we think, really, and time's not just going straight forward all the time. It is to us. That's how we
No, it isn't.
experience it. Yeah, but in
You're
reality,
watching Beyond Dimension, the place where the sky is not the limit.
that's it. Yes, yeah, you've said that.
We could have
Now,
this as a baseline, actually, John.
yeah. We might change it. Actually, we might change it. We might change
No,
what we've
just put
got
it
there.
as a baseline. Just use it as a baseline. It would be fun.
That's it. I think we should definitely.
Yeah.
Jesse, last couple of episodes we've ended on what we might look at next.
For our next show, what
Yeah.
have I got up my sleeve here? We have a lot of things. Yeah, that's
Any
a good question.
suggestions can always comment them in,
Oh
guys.
boy. Which one could we go into? Atlantis?
Do
Anybody
you know what?
interested
Yeah.
in Atlantis?
Yeah.
We have a lot to say and a lot of new things. You've never heard about what I have to say unless you watch my other shows in French, but because they would be the same ideas. But no, you've never heard. It's going to be Atlantis like you've never heard it ever was.
Do you know what?
And it really is. This is something amazing. Yeah, John.
Do you know what? Atlantis has been in my mind last couple of weeks, because I've always thought, right, so this is how I heard about Atlantis when I was a bit younger. So Atlantis, yep, they got really advanced. They became really advanced, but then they ended up wiping themselves out. Now, true or not, I don't know, but I'm thinking, well, how the hell can that happen? Well, I'll be honest with you. Over the last couple of years, I've been looking at this in this world right now, and we're doing the same. We've got advanced in so many ways, but we're also at the same time, we're doing a lot of damage to the world, and if you look at things how they're going on at the moment, it looks like we're beginning to wipe ourselves out. Start sowing the seeds for it to happen. I'm sure it can be reversed and altered, but I actually get now how the Atlanteans could have wiped themselves out by becoming advanced, and then greedy, and then just going down wrong road.
There is a good reason for that, and let me tell you, John, and everyone here, that you just eat your heart out and wait, stay tuned for our next show, and you will know exactly why and how this happened. And I have contacts with Atlanteans regular basis, not often, but on regular basis. And we will talk about it, and it's really amazing. Really amazing.
Okay.
We live in a beautiful world in a way. It's full of surprises, it's full of magic, it's full of potential and possibilities. We've got everything going for us. If only we got the right education to drive us, steer us in that right direction, that would help. And this is why people like me are here, and I will die trying if I don't.
I look forward to it, definitely. And yes, I just there's a comment. Michael Hartley, has Jesse ever met someone from another dimension, or is it a silly question? It's not a silly question, definitely not.
No, but I've given a few examples. Yes, I have regularly. I mean, the Acadians, for example, we're going to be talking about them. But I meet them. I now have eat your hearts out, everyone. I now have people, like I said at the beginning of this show, from the sun. There are solar beings who live on the sun and solar beings who live in the sun. And there are many different races, and I'm going to be working on having a contact with them. We were in touch the other day through a channeling session, 2 channeling sessions, in fact. And we said, we really want to talk to you guys, and we really want to exchange, and we really want to know who you are, because apparently for the moment, you're not there. And they are really well-meaning people. They really want to help humans and humanity and mankind move forward, and etc. This is what we need.
I find that interesting to the point where I'm thinking, Jesse, have you got a book on that? Because
have I got what?
Read that. Have you got any books on this? Because I'd love to read that kind of thing.
There are not. I'm going to have to write it by all the looks of it, because apparently, consciously, nobody has really been aware of them. Right, and my French program, he said one day, I was talking about it, I don't remember, I think it was whether it was off or online, but anyway. And he said, oh, Jesse, one of my sons is actually, who is now 6, nearing 7 now, and he says he's always talking about the sun, he's always drawing pictures of the sun, and he's always telling me he comes from the sun.
That's amazing.
We need more evidence. Come on, sun people, let's have a party here. We want to hear from you.
Yeah.
And I'm all, again, I would really love doing this and doing more stuff with them. So yeah.
That's amazing, and that would be something that I'd look into and read into, because I mean, when it comes to the sun as well, I mean, just like that'll be our Phil. Can you stop it? Can you ask him to go with solar flares? But that actually reminds me. I watch space weather a lot on YouTube. I know, guys, I watch the greatest things. But it shows you how sun, the energy, it's our atmosphere, and the energy actually runs down in portals to the ground. So
there is also, go on, John. Sorry. Go on.
Well, I'm just saying, if there's any communications to be had, there's literally a path there and then it hits that portal and it goes into this ground. So yeah, I find that's why I find that amazing. Yeah.
I would just like to round that up by saying everything happens for a reason. Solar flares are not meant to be bad. They are meant to be because there is some use to them.
Yeah.
Now, maybe we don't understand or like them. Well, fair enough. But then again, they are there. They're there for a reason. Maybe humans don't understand it and can't understand it for the moment. Well, okay, fine. But they're there. I mean, you're not going to tell a stinging nettle, stop being a stinging nettle because you're stinging me every time I walk down that road or down that path. The stinging nettle is a stinging nettle. You can't ask her to be anything else. That's what she's there for. I mean, it is there for.
Yeah.
It's like some people, we call a lot of animals now nuisances. But who's to say humans are not a nuisance on this planet rather than animals? All animals have their own use. Yeah, if they didn't have their use, they would have been extinct. They would have gone, or never been, maybe even. There is a reason for that, and we try and look on the bright side of things and learn from the experience. It's like when everything is an opportunity. Look at everything as an opportunity. That's what it is.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's like dandelions, classed as an absolute weed, but you can eat them in salads and make tea out of them.
I love dandelion salads.
Dandelions are brilliant, really.
They're very healthy and they're very nutritious, also.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, so I get what you're saying with that. Yeah, it's just what we end up grouping them as. I just like to say hello to Martin Ali. How you doing? So yeah, Jesse, Atlantis for next one. That I mean, I look forward to that. And like I said, I have been thinking of that and today's world recently, and yeah, that will. I look forward to that. That'll be good. Thank you for everyone for watching and commenting. It's been an absolute pleasure. Jesse, a pleasure once again. I look forward to next one.
Yeah, ever renewed. Love being here. Love the show. Love you guys coming and checking on us regularly. That's great. Talk to you soon again. Bye.
Definitely.
Keep well.
Yeah, thank you very much. Bye.
Bye for now.